and welcome to another special edition of our weekly news bulletin. Last week, the Scottish Parliament passed new legislation which will see a named person or state guardian assigned to every child under the age of 18 in Scotland. The state guardian provision is contained within the Children and Young People's Scotland Bill. It's been causing huge controversy in the media and from parents who see the new law as state interference and a threat to family life. The Christian Institute have announced that they are to launch a judicial review of the provision, and here to discuss the issue with me is the Institute's in-house lawyer, Sam Webster. Sam, thank you for joining me. Perhaps we could just start with you explaining exactly what it is that MSPs at Holyrood have agreed to.
Yes, well, in the bill passed by MSPs last week, there's much that's simply uncontentious. But what we are very concerned about is Part 4 of the bill, which would set up a named person service for every child in Scotland. Every child would be assigned an official of the state, a state official, who would have functions under the legislation to monitor the welfare of the child they're assigned to give advice to them, to give information to them, to pass information about them to relevant state authorities, the relevant authorities, and also to support that child in accessing services. It's a very wide discretion that the named person would have. They would have the power to exercise these functions insofar as they consider it appropriate, and we think that discretion is much too wide. So we're very concerned about these proposals indeed, and see significant scope for them to be used in an inappropriate way.
Yeah, so what kind of things are you and parents that are contacting you most concerned about with this?
Given the wide discretion, it's not difficult to see a huge range of feasible scenarios that could arise. For example, perhaps a teenage girl falls pregnant, considers that she wants to keep the child, the parents support that, but the named person decides that that's inappropriate for the child, that advice ought to be given to the child that therefore conflicts with the wishes of the parents. Or what about a child who is perhaps a sporting prodigy, which involves needing coaching or rehearsals on a Sunday, but the Christian parents considers that is not appropriate, that they're against the child engaging in sporting activities on a Sunday. And the named person could therefore raise this issue with the relevant authorities, thinking that it's holding back the child. So a full range of scenarios that possibly could arise, and we're concerned there's nothing in the legislation to prevent it. Right,
but do you not think that we need laws to protect vulnerable children?
Absolutely, and let us not forget that we already do have such laws, certainly in Scotland and also in other parts of the United Kingdom. Our great concern is the named person system would in fact detract from those current laws, that resources, the full energies of public authorities will get diverted very widely into unnecessary investigations and take away the energy from where it's actually needed in investigating where there is real harm going on.
Okay, so are you concerned that politicians at Westminster will now consider these plans for the rest of the UK?
It's always a concern where an adverse precedent is set somewhere, that will be replicated elsewhere. So of course it is a concern that other parts of the UK, including Westminster, could follow suit in the future. And that must be something that we're mindful of.
So the Christian Institute has announced that it is going to launch a judicial review of these plans. Perhaps you could explain exactly what it is that involves.
Okay, well we've had advice from leading Queen's Counsel Aidan O'Neill QC to the effect that the named person proposals may be unlawful in that they are a breach of Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, a right to a respect for a private and family life, and under the law an Act of the Scottish Parliament must be compliant with the European Convention on Human Rights. If it's not compliant, then the Act of the Scottish Parliament is unlawful. It's not within their competence. So we would be asking in a judicial review for the Court of Session to make a declaration that this Act is in fact unlawful.
Okay. Sam, thank you for coming in and joining me today. If you would like to find out more about the legal work here at the Christian Institute and how you can support it, download the new Legal Defence Fund prospectus at christian.org.uk/LDF booklet. And to make a donation to the fund, go to christian.org.uk/LDF giving. As usual, you can access more information and resources on this and many other issues by visiting our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.